Yeah, so I was born and raised in Wellington, went to Onslow College, and then in my year 11, which I think was 2013, I joined the academy and was here until I was 18, and I went over to the United States for university on a full scholarship, which was awesome. And so I played there for 4 seasons, and then after my fourth season, went into the draft and got drafted by Minnesota United, and I'm about to start my second year with them. Yeah, so I was quite an active kid, um, and so I loved football. But before I got to LA, I wasn't very good. I could run really fast, but I wasn't very good at kicking the ball. Um, and so I got to LA, and obviously it was like something I've never experienced. Um, and yeah, it basically just taught me how to be a football player, and I loved it. And that's why even now I'm 23, still coming back here every time I get a chance because it's the best coaching in the world, I reckon. And it's also the most fun you have on a football pitch. And I think it takes going away to realize that as well. So yeah, I just love this place, and I'll always come back here. So I went to UC Santa Barbara, which is quite a good footballing school. Um, at the time, I had no real idea what I was doing. Ben helped me through the process quite a bit. So I went over there kind of not really understanding what was going to happen. But it was, yeah, one of the best experiences of my life. Uh, you basically train, go to school, and just have fun with your friends. And the campus I was at was ridiculous, right on the beach. So yeah, I loved it. And so went over there as an 18-year-old, played 4 seasons, and almost got my degree as well. Um,
Almost.
I had to leave early for the draft, so I got one more semester, but hopefully I'll finish that up in the next couple of years and get my degree along with it. But yeah, it was fantastic. I loved it. I think for kids who may not be ready to go pro necessarily when they're 18, that's who I was, and I was surrounded by people who were trying to go pro. I think it's a great pathway for people who maybe need a couple more years of developing, and I think it's good now with people like Elliot Collier and Kyle Adams as well. They've shown that you can go to college and still become pro as well. So yeah, I think it's a great pathway, and obviously it's good for the parents too because they're actually getting an education out of it as well. It was a crazy one. So the draft was on at I think 5 a.m. New Zealand time. So my mum and I both woke up to watch it. And beforehand, I sort of knew the ins and outs of it, but I wasn't quite sure when I'd get picked or if I'd even get picked. For international players, it's quite hard because teams only have a certain amount of spots on their roster for international. So I wasn't getting my hopes up too high. And so I watched the draft, and people kept getting picked over me. And then Minnesota had the 18th pick, and I didn't even really know anything about Minnesota. Um, and so the presenters were talking mid-pick, and my name came up across the bottom. So I look at my mum and I say, "Did I just get picked?" And then they say, "Oh, and with the 18th pick, Noah Billingsley. Do you know anything about him?" And the other guy says, "No." I'm like, "Sweet, all right, we'll move on." Yeah, it was surreal that I got to spend it with my mum as well. So yeah, it was awesome. I jumped on a plane over to Minnesota, did my physicals, and then found out I had a heart problem. I think it's called Wolf Parkinson's. Basically, my heart just gets in these loops where it beats too quickly, and so it took me a couple of days to sort that out. And it was annoying because the team had already started training and started preseason, so I was kind of just sitting off on the sideline. But we figured it out, and I jumped straight into the fitness test, and that went really well. Broke the record, so that was cool. And then yeah, from there I just started training with the team, and yeah, it was awesome. So basically, COVID hit after 2 games into our season, and so everything sort of came to a halt, as I'm sure everyone's work did. Um, and so we started training again midway through the year, and we were about to go into a bubble down in Orlando, so all the teams could play and live at the same resort, and that way try to keep the virus out, but we could still get games in. And right before, maybe a couple of days before we were supposed to head down, I actually got COVID. and and so I thought it'd be, I knew it was kind of bad, but In my head I was thinking I'll just, 1 week I'll get over it and then I'll meet the team down in Orlando. But I couldn't kick it for about 6 weeks, 5-6 weeks. Just kept testing positive. Couldn't get rid of it. And so by the time I did test negative and got over it, the team was on their way back and I'd been out for 6 weeks. And so the general manager said, would you be interested in going on loan? And at that point, all I wanted to do was play, so I just said yeah. And so the first team that would have me was Vegas. And so, yeah, I packed up my stuff and went to Vegas for 2 months and lived there and played there. And they're in the league below the MLS, so it was perfect for getting my fitness back. And the level wasn't so high that I would struggle. But yeah, it was fantastic. Met some great people, and obviously living in Las Vegas is pretty cool. So yeah, it was awesome. So I was there for 2 months. Went back to Minnesota after that, I think around October, and then yeah, made my debut for Minnesota, which was awesome. It was funny. So I wasn't going to go on, but the right back we have, really good player. He went down with some cramp, I think, with maybe 10 minutes to go. And so I was like, okay, here's my moment. And so I went in, and it's the most tired I've ever been in my life. I think maybe just the occasion and the emotions maybe got to me a little bit, but it was so surreal just looking around and actually playing in a stadium. And it was a shame there was no fans there, but yeah, it was amazing and just made me want to keep going. I loved every second of it. I still think it's the best training in the world. It's funny, like, you think, because Ben would always say it before we left, but you do realize, like, this is actually the best training you're going to get, and it's the most fun you're going to have on a football pitch, which is both like, sort of a happy feeling and a sad one. But no, coming back, it's been awesome, and the kids get better and better. I thought no one would be able to touch our group, but some of these kids are unbelievable, so it's cool that I can come back and train with guys much younger than me, but the level is still really high, and it's a lot of fun, obviously. It's great. Obviously, it's something I've dreamed of my whole life, but I think once you get there, it's maybe not as sort of grand as you'd expect it. You still have to go in every day and try your hardest, and you can't get complacent. So it's amazing being there, and sort of coming back home. It sort of made me realize that I'm actually doing something quite cool, but it's still, that doesn't mean that I've made it. I've still got a lot to do. Ooh, that's a tough one. It would either be Ryan Thomas, because obviously he's insane. Or we just got this guy at Minnesota called Reynoso. He's from Boca Juniors, plays the 10 position, and he's a joke. It's like, you can't take the ball off him. So it'd either be him or Ryan Thomas, but probably Ryan, to be fair. I think it sounds pretty simple, but I think if you just listen to what you're being told by, well, we're lucky because we have Ben and Blake who are always going to be in our corner, but if you just listen and you keep showing up and doing the right things, then it'll happen. Like, I was never the best player, but I just kept showing up and somehow ended up in the MLS. So yeah, it's pretty simple. It's simple, but it's also the hardest thing. You just got to keep showing up and keep listening, and it'll happen. Yeah, a lot. I think it got easier over time, but especially 2020 was a tough one. But then you do realize, I'm doing this for them, so it makes it a wee bit easier. It's rondos, always the rondos. I can't get enough of rondos. When you go elsewhere, you realize no one else does them as much, and they're never as good. So yeah, coming back here, rondos, always the rondos. I think the most challenging was last year after I got COVID, because I've always been just insanely fit, and it's never been a problem. I could have weeks off and come back and still be really fit. But after COVID, I couldn't get my fitness back, and I was a wee bit worried because it's what most of my game is based around, is me getting up and down the line. So trying to get back to my fitness was tough. But then the most rewarding thing came out of that was making my debut for Minnesota. Because it was like, yeah, I went through shit and came out the other side. There's been so many. Winning the league was awesome. When I was here, I think it was 2018 maybe. I came back, and usually I leave for the last 3 games of the season, or when I was in college I would. But that year we were just so good that we won the league while I was still here, and it was such a good feeling. Yeah, I did actually. It was before I'd even gone over to college. I think it was my first season with the first team. I was 16, I think. We played Miramar at Miramar, and it was pouring with rain. I think Ben was playing that game too, and I think we won 7-1 or 7. Yeah, it was just the best feeling ever to go to Miramar and beat them like that. The way we did too, there was just 1-2s everywhere, and it was, yeah, probably the best game I've been a part of. So yeah, that was amazing. Ooh, it's cool. I think all the ideals and the values are still the same, but it just seems so much more organized and tidy. You know, like even like rooms like this, we never had when I was here. So it's cool seeing the academy outside of football also elevate as well as the football. So yeah, when I was here, this was like an old mental asylum, and you know, there was mold everywhere and the roof leaked and stuff. But now it's, you know, it's a proper academy, and it's cool to see. I think an obvious one is just my mum. She played and has always been super supportive of me, and as a single parent, it was probably really tough dragging me around all over Wellington and all over the country, making sure I could play and have fun. So definitely her. I think Ben's up there too. Ben came in and we clashed a lot. I think we were quite similar, but now that I've sort of matured a wee bit, we get along really great, and I always ask him, we stay in contact all throughout the year, and I ask him for advice if I need it, and he, you know, he keeps me going. He's a great guy, Ben. No, it's awesome. There's a good group of young players that I'm, you know, friends with now, which is cool, and the older guys are all really nice, and they joke around with you and stuff, and having Michael Boxall there and James Musa last year and stuff, 2 Kiwis, was awesome. Yeah, it's a really good group of guys and some unbelievable players as well. So I love going in and learning every day and joking around with them. It's an awesome environment. So the first time I represented New Zealand was in 2015 for the U20 World Cup. I was 17 and didn't really expect to get in the team. So getting the call up and saying I was part of it was amazing, and the fact that it was here in New Zealand was unbelievable. That was probably my coolest wee stint with New Zealand, because I scored here in the now Sky Arena, Westpac back in the day, but scored there in front of all my friends and family, and we won that game 5-1. So that was really cool. And then I did the U20s in 2 years after that, so when I was 19. That was in Korea. And then in 2018, I played for the All Whites, which it came out of nowhere, and I wasn't expecting it, but it was a great experience, and, you know, learned a lot from the players that were there and from the coach at the time. And going to India was an experience in itself. And yeah, getting 3 caps was something I'd always dreamed of, so that was fantastic. And yeah, hopefully the Olympics happen this year with the 23s, but again, it's all up in the air, so yeah, who knows what's going to happen with that. But every time I've represented New Zealand, I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Just keep doing the right things, even if you think they're very little things now, they add up over time. And if you do your breathing every day, you come to training and you work hard and you listen to Ben and Blake, then good things will happen. So yeah, the first one would be just keep showing up, and the second one would be flexible. I played striker for the All Whites, and now I'm a right back in the MLS. So listen to your coaches and be flexible, and who knows, if you're a winger now, you might be a centre back in a couple of years. Just be flexible. Probably just that I can't even believe that I'm having a Q&A. I still feel just like one of the boys, so thank you for the questions, and yeah. Do your cars, kids.